Alright, welcome to Language Studies again. This is Language Studies Man, and today we'll be talking about spelling rules. This is a beginning lesson, but you might want to go over the Russian alphabet again and hard and soft letters. And I just want to make this one point, that the spelling rules are not pronunciation rules. These are just when Russians spell. So as you can see, there are 6 boxes here that are colored. Not this black box, it just says spelling rules, of course. But there are 6 boxes. So as you can see on the top boxes, there are the letters. And on the bottom boxes, there are the rules that go with the letters. So let's just talk about these left 2 boxes in blue for a second. This is the first spelling rule that I want to go over. So as you can see, we have these 3 letters right here, K, G, and H. And after K, G, and H, you will never see an E. So let's just go ahead and mark that out. It's always going to be an E. So if we were going to write a K and then an E like this would never happen. So this is wrong. What you're always going to write after a K is an E. And this is really important for adjectives, because adjectives in Russian, they either end in an "y" and then an "ikrakoya" or an "e" and an "ikrakoya." And so a common mistake in Russian after a "k" is to put an "e" and then an "ikrakoya." And of course, this is wrong. So a lot of people who are beginning Russian, they don't really hear this difference or know the spelling rule. So what you need to do is always remember to put an E here. And of course the same thing goes with a G and a H. Now with these 2 middle boxes, the green boxes, let me just go ahead and circle the hard consonants. And this will be important later. So let me circle them real quick. Now the J and the Sh, these are hard. And I know you can't see this. This is the Sh, so this is the soft one. So let me go ahead and put a little tail on this so you're not confused. So that's the tail. And I know it's a little bit bigger than it should be, but that's just to emphasize that this one is the Sh. That is soft. Okay, so after these letters, a U and a Ya turns into a U and an A. Now for some people this may be a little bit tricky because you know that a Sh with the little tail is soft. But you're never going to see a U which is soft after it. So this is wrong right here. It's always going to be an U. And the same thing with Ya and A. Now let me point out that this U right here, this is the way it sounds when you say it. It's just not the way that it's written. Of course, if this was a Sh, then without the tail, which is the hard one, then this would be perfectly understandable. The U is hard, the Sh is hard. They're hard and they go together. And they sound they're both hard sounds. Whereas this one, U is a hard sound, is a hard vowel, but the Sh is a soft consonant. And usually they wouldn't go together, but because of this spelling rule, they have to go together, but it doesn't sound like an U. Remember, it sounds like a U. Now after this T, remember that this one is a little bit tricky. If you can have an O after it, and that's perfectly okay. You can have an O. So you can have so, if that makes any sense, but only if it's accented. If it's not accented, for example, if the accent in the word changes depending on the case, then it's going to turn into a yay. And I know that this is a beginning lesson, so we haven't gone over cases yet, and some people might not even know what cases are, but just go ahead and nod your head and say, yes, I understand. And once you start learning cases in Russian, this will make a lot more sense. So remember, if this O is unaccented, then it's going to turn into a yay. Okay, so let me explain these arrows for a second. I have written some arrows, and this is just to help you understand a little bit more of the spelling rules. Because I said that the blue ones go together, the green ones go together, and the orange ones go together. I hope that I made that clear. But also, the arrows point to which rules also apply to to the other letters. If I had thought about this a little bit more, I would actually have drawn the arrows more like this, instead of like this. I would mark out this one and draw the arrows like this, and ignore these ones. And what that means is that this rule in the middle applies to these letters and this letter. And also, these rules here apply to the green letters. So if I were going to circle all of the letters that apply to g, k, and h, I would, or b. If I were going to circle all the rules that apply to g, k, and h, I would circle these two rules. Well, that's a bad circle. So in fact, an E turns to E, and a U and a Ya turn to an U and an A after these letters as well. And as you might have guessed, all of these rules, so I'll circle all of these, apply to the hushers, to the zh, sh, sha, and cha. And as you've already probably figured out, that the green rule and the orange rule apply to tse. So as you can see, the ones that circled apply to this one. Now I'm going to go over this orange rule a little bit more because this one's a little bit confusing. So let's go ahead and look at a specific example. Let's look at the word harosho, or haroshi. Haroshi means good in Russian. So let me just write it out here. And I made a mistake. I actually put the ikrakkoya first. It was a dumb mistake. Okay, so anyway, the accent is on the second O. And this means good. Good. Now, as you know, in Russian, and we haven't really gone over this, but you might already know that if you want to make an adjective and adverb, all you have to do is cross out the last E and ikrakkoya and add an O. So let's do this. Let's do хорошо. And so this equals well. Like he did the job well. And so the accent changes, and the accent is on this O. And as we know from the spelling rules, that if it's unaccented, if it's accented after the zh, sh, sha, and cha, and also after the tsa, if the O is accented, then it's an O, and it's pronounced like an O. But if we take haroshi and we put it before a neuter noun, then we'll go like this. It'll be haroshe. And this also means good. But it's only after neuter nouns in either the inanimate accusative case or after neuter noun in the nominative case. And of course that probably doesn't mean a lot to many of you right now if you don't know a lot of Russian, if you're just beginning. But we'll get into it later on. Or you can study it later on. But normally the ending for an adjective, if it's before a neuter noun, is o, ye. But as you can see, because of the spelling rule, it's not going to be an o, ye, it's going to be a ye, ye. Because this ye is not accented. And remember that this is just a spelling rule. This is not a pronunciation rule. Remember that the sh is a hard consonant, and this ye is a soft consonant. Or not a soft consonant, but a soft vowel. And so you're not going to want to pronounce this like a ye, you're going to pronounce it like an a. So what we're going to do next is some examples. So I'm going to give you a couple of words, and I'm going to tell you where the accents are. The accents are going to be the ones that are going to be on the letters that are bigger and bolded. So here are the words. And you tell me what the problem with these words are. And I'll give you 5 seconds. Alright, so the first word, we know what the problem is. We just did the example. Remember, this has a spelling rule that if this is accented, this O is accented, then after a sh, if then an unaccented O turns to a Y. Remember, this is pronounced like a, not a Y. It's not soft. This one, you don't actually have to know where the accent is. All you have to remember for this spelling rule is that after a K, it's always going to be an E, never an E. And then this one is the same thing. You don't have to know where the accent is. All you have to remember is if you're going to spell it, it's never going to be a U after a sh. It's going to be a U. And there are the answers, of course. You can see the correct spelling of each word. Alright, and that's it for today's language lesson. I hope it makes sense. If you don't understand it, just write a question in the comments there and I'll try to answer it. But hopefully I made everything understandable, and I got a little trivia question for you today. I just want you to try and figure out what painting this is, where the painting is located, and who painted it. And just write your answer in the comments, and I'll tell you if it's right or not. I don't have any prizes or anything to give, it's just something fun for you to do. And that's it. Language Studies is signing off. And remember, love life and study hard.